If you're Rishi Sunak, it really hasn't been a very good week. Not only have you shown, well, the complete ineptitude of global Britain, the whole point of Brexit, one of the many things that Brexiteers would point to, we're becoming global Britain, flying off to Israel and achieving nothing. Even James Cleverly doing another round because, as we've said before, why on earth should Israel or any other country listen to the UK in this regard, in this sector? They ain't going to listen. They're only interested in listening to the Americans here. They're the ones that have the power. We do nothing in this. But hey, and you're trying to sort of, show yourself as a superpower. Why not just jet around the world and, effectively waste your own time? Not only that, of course, we've had the very two disastrous by-election defeats for the Conservatives, which have led to a lot of Conservatives calling for now a, quote, change of direction. Some, interestingly, even calling for what I've heard as a plan for rejoin and rejoice. We'll see if that plan comes to fruition or if that is an actual serious rumor that's been going around. We'll see. The other interesting thing that was going around was asking and polling Conservative voters in these seats, what's turned you off from voting Rishi Sunak? Well, it's been the abandonment of these net zero policies, these environmental policies. Again, a choice of Rishi Sunak. You've also had the big losses in local council seats. Local Conservatives are losing seats left, right, and centre. And yet it doesn't often get reported just how many seats they are losing in by-election. I think they've had over 70 local council by-elections. And they've lost well over half of those. That's not good. So it is very obvious, if you're Rishi Sunak, he is in trouble. He is in massive trouble. And we've already got rumors that there's already letters in the 1942, the 1922 committee. So Sunak's protection comes up, I believe, in a week or 2 weeks' time, I think it is. How many more letters are going to go in? You've got Liz Truss releasing her own version of the budget, which I'm sure will be a fascinating read, to say the least. Overall, it really has not been a good week. But one of the stories this week that has really gone underreported, of course, is the COVID inquiry. And I'm surprised that Labour have not made hay on this. Because in this, Rishi Sunak has been referred to as Dr. Death. Which, bear in mind, absolute gift for Labour. Absolute gift for Labour, yet again, calling Rishi Sunak Dr. Death. So, yeah, we're going to go into this and have a look at the COVID inquiry. And ultimately, they are not finished yet in this regard. I think there's still yet more stuff to come out in this regard. So this could be even more interesting if more stuff is about to come out. So we'll see what happens there. But before we do get into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and an donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. There is, of course, the pardon me, YouTube thank you button, and of course, the Pony Club down below as well. So let's crack on into this. So this comes from politics.co.uk, who reported this with the title of Rishi Sunak referred to as Dr. Death in WhatsApp messages seen by COVID inquiry. So, during the proceedings of the COVID inquiry today, a WhatsApp message was revealed which showed an exchange between Dame Angela McLean, the chief government scientific advisor, and SAGE, the COVID-19 modeler, Professor John Edmunds. And according to the image seen by the inquiry, the exchange took place on the 20th of September 2020. And in it, Dame McLean referred to the then-chancellor, Rishi Sunak, as Dr. Death, the Chancellor. Yeah, this does not look good. This just does not look good for Rishi Sunak, because if I was in Labour right now, I would be making hay of this. I would be making the point that, look, Sunak is responsible for a lot of deaths. Even his own governmental scientific advisors agree on that. Just look at how much bad he's screwed up. Do you really think he's a good choice to be prime minister? Do you think do you really want him to continue on for another full term? It is an gift an absolute gift. And not only just that, as we've mentioned before, but the whole thing where he got recorded saying how he, took money from the poor areas and gave it to the rich. There's just so much stuff there, which is it just absolutely wipes him out. It just absolutely, it does. This is going to be, this election is, I don't want to say it now and jinx it, but it really seriously does look like it's in the bag. And this, stuff like this, helps me even less. So if Rishi Sunak becomes now seen as, well, actually, he's an awful candidate, he's had a year to try and turn it around, he hasn't turned anything around, maybe we've got to have in the leadership contest. But then the question gets asked, who do you replace him with? And the answer is, there isn't a viable option yet where they can go to. And we've seen before from those comments we read yesterday, today on Conservative Home, saying the same thing. We don't know who we will go to. The public would be absolutely outraged by it. So he is really not going to be good. Not going to be in a good position. And politically, he is just an absolute lame duck. He really is. He's just a complete lame duck. But anyway, this continues. So the lead counsel, Hugo Keith, asked Professor John Edmunds whether these comments were made in reaction to the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, championed by Sunak, which ran in August of 2020. Professor Edmunds replied, honestly, it's so long ago I wouldn't know, but it could well be. Naomi Follop, the spokesperson for the COVID-19 bereaved Families for Justice, responded, saying that the inquiry has made it very clear that there was absolutely no consultation with the government's scientific advisors on Eat Out to Help Out, that it contributed to the loss of thousands of lives and put unnecessary pressure on the NHS and plunged the country into another brutal second lockdown. It is unbearable to think that if it wasn't for Rishi Sunak's recklessness, the unscientific and callous approach, that my mum might still be with me. When our current scientific chief advisor referred to our prime minister as Dr. Death, how can any of us have faith in our government if another pandemic strikes? The latest batch of WhatsApp messages and emails have shown the COVID inquiry indicate that Dame McLean and Steve Powers and the medical director of NHS England a complete F-wit. Meanwhile, opponents of lockdown measures are also referred to as the, quote, let it rip brigade by the then chief scientific advisor Patrick Vance. Oof. So this is another thing that, if you remember, big in 2020, which everyone tried to deny, that Boris Johnson was saying, of just, let it rip. Well, now, this is being referred to in these conversations. So it would not shock me before we get more confirmation on, the whole let it rip and, let it run wild and free strategy, which would have been even worse for this. But yeah. Like I say, the COVID inquiry just goes to show you just how bad the Tories really are over this. And this is why this is why Boris Johnson deferred having the inquiry for so long. And bear in mind, it is going to take a while before we get the full inquiry. But again, it is reporting in stages. We've already had the first stage report, which again was not good. And bear in mind, you're getting all this stuff now. Do you think the second stage report is going to be favourable to the Tories and their governing and how they handle this crisis? Absolutely not. Once again, going to be absolute hay at a general election. Anyway, what I've got here. So also the COVID inquiry, the chair businesswoman, Baroness Heather Hallett, told the Probe that she's yet to decide whether or not Patrick Vallance's diary's entries should be published in full. Baroness Hallett said that it would be premature to make a decision on this issue. The diary kept by the former chief scientific advisor was effectively a, quote, brain dump, and Sir Patrick's lawyer said that it was written at the end of an intensely stressful days to try and protect his mental health. It suggested instead that this new document should be created containing only the relevant extracts. So, yeah, COVID inquiry still continuing, still digging up, to be honest, the best evidence we could give. And to be honest, if I were Keir Starmer, I'd just start addressing Rishi Sunak as this in PMQs. You know, I'd like to, you know, address Dr. Death. Oh, sorry, the Prime Minister. Just keep on calling him that. Just start really picking at him, because this whole thing, and people have said after this inquiry, should there be criminal charges brought for what is it, criminal negligence and stuff like this? There might be a good cause for it. You know, if we're going to have a COVID, I can't remember what did Labour call it now? The COVID sort of money returner. I can't remember what they call it now. The money getter backer, shall we call it? I know they've gone on to about that, but should they just say, you know what, we're going to open up a criminal investigation? So you know what, go, you know, chief prosecutor, the COVID inquiry is there. It's got all the evidence. You decide whether we, you know, put these people on trial for their decisions, or should we say lack of indecisions, and the decisions they made that they led to lots of death. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Wouldn't be a bad idea at all. But hey, we'll see what happens. But as always, thank you very much, of course, for watching. And of course, as always, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.